always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying.
What is up, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Project Zangetsu. And today we're going to attempt to do something like everything I've been doing on this car that I have never tried before. I'm gonna try and do some panel beating in a way. I got this idea from Smeedia. Shout out to Tanner for uploading this video recently. He was basically giving out a tutorial on how to install a front mount intercooler on a blob eye, I think it was an STI, and he showed basically how it is that you can remove the crash bar that sits behind the front bumper. So seeing as how, thanks to my accident, that's one of the things that was most significantly damaged, I'm going to attempt to straighten it at least a little bit in this episode so that I can straighten the chassis out a little bit more and fit the bumper a little bit better than it is at the moment, because the right side of it is unable to bolt on properly onto where the headlights on the car sit. So wish me luck, and here we go. So if you look over here, this is the alignment that I am talking about, where this side of the bumper wasn't able to align properly to these holes over here, so I had to use cable ties in order to try and sort of hold it in place. You can see from this angle that it kind of overlaps unnaturally onto the headlight. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to sit a little bit more flush on those holes, and the main problem that's causing that is this very bent crash bar sitting behind the bumper. So I am going to unbolt this crash bar, remove it, put it on the ground, see if I can't either hammer it or stomp it a bit straighter. Eventually, I am fully aware that I am going to have to get a new one. I'm sure I should be able to get one either from a scrapyard or perhaps maybe even order a brand new one. I'm hoping it's not too expensive, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we're going to be starting off by removing this front bumper, which is going to be a very tedious task, as I have done it a few times before. But hey, you gotta pay to play, right? Let's get it. Alrighty guys, apologies for the very abrupt transition, but we now have the crash bar off the car, and this is what it's now looking like. So now we have a lot more access to this wishbone, I think it is, to try and manipulate it to make it a bit straighter and try and get this bonnet to latch on properly. So we're making some progress, we're on our way. Okay, so guys, I think I've reached the end of the road as far as this particular video is concerned. So let me just basically show you where we're at. Okay, so as you saw in the last clip, I did manage to get the crash bar out. Yeah, feeling very, very good about that. And but I wasn't able to straighten it. I tried standing on it, I tried jumping on it, I tried hammering it. So it looks like my choices are, I'm gonna have to either send this to a panel beater for them to properly straighten it, or maybe find a second-hand one or go to a scrapyard somewhere and see if I can find one and just buy a replacement one. Because it turns out that it's actually pretty easy to install and remove. So those are one of my two choices. Now, in the interim, before I'm able to do that, it turns out that in the modified car culture in general, not only Subarus, but it seems to be a tendency for a lot of people when they run front mount intercoolers to actually remove the crash bar from the back of the bumper in order to make space, to make room for the front mount intercooler. So yes, it's a lot less safety in the name of modification, and that's the reason why they do it. So it kind of makes me feel better about the fact that I don't have my crash bar for the time being, even though my intentions weren't to get a front mount intercooler. I was just in a bit of a situation. But yeah, so it looks like I'm gonna have to run it without the crash bar for the time being. But having said all of that, I don't always like to toot my own horn, but this is the most flush I have ever seen this bumper sitting for ever since the bumper got messed up. I haven't seen it look this straight for a while now. I don't know if you guys remember from the previous pictures or videos, this part of the bumper was terribly overlapped onto the headlight itself. I think it came down about there, and it caused like a lot of misalignment between this part and the rest of the bumper. And basically, the brackets that the front bumper sits on, which are just up below this portion of the bonnet, weren't aligning. So I had to use cable ties to kind of sort of hold it close to where it's supposed to be, but not actually there. Now it actually bolts up because the removal of that crash bar kind of allowed the chassis to flex outwards a little bit and no longer be as bent as it was from the result of the accident. And the crash bar appears to have been keeping it there. So now both sides are nice and bolted in. Even this part now, even the bumper, the bonnet, I am now getting it to latch. The bonnet is now sitting flush with the lines, sitting perfectly with the headline there, sitting perfectly with the fender. But on this side, I think I just need to do a little bit more straightening on the radiator cradle itself. There's a bit of a gap here. As you can see, it's still sitting a bit up, so it's not sitting completely flush, but looking a lot better than it was before. So those maybe will be the minor jobs that I'll be able to give to a panel beater and pay a lot less than I was going to if I just sent the car in. So yeah, I see this as an absolute win. We're not exactly where we want to be, but we are damn near getting close to it. So, and that's where I'm going to end it here for today. So that's my first attempt at a little bit of panel beating. I don't know how helpful this video could have been to anyone, but I certainly feel like I made some progress, and I'm going to continue and let you guys know exactly what's going to happen. The next video that's coming up is the conclusion of what's going to happen to this bonnet in terms of its appearance. So yeah, feel free to take a guess while you wait for the opening weekend of the release of this video, where I finally complete this bonnet. Feel free to speculate, maybe even drop some suggestions as to what you think I should do, and then we'll see what happens on the actual video. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to end the video now. My name is Zangetsu Mahlangu. As usual, thank you very much for hanging out. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the thumbs up icon and leave us a like. If you'd like to see more from Project Zangetsu or Nth-Level Entertainment in general, please click subscribe and be sure to ring that bell icon so you are notified each and every time I drop new content on this here channel. As usual, people, take care of each other, stay awesome, and stay chasing your dreams to infinity and beyond.
Yeah.